Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of E&Ftv. You'll probably notice that we're not actually in my living room this time, going through Zoom. We're actually in a beautiful property, which is the Claremont Charing Cross, and we're joined by my good friends, Yona.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us again on the show. As you'll know, if you've been watching the show for some time, Yona's actually taken part, as has Michael, who's another good friend of mine. But we have a bit of a new addition, which is Barry. So Barry, thank you so much for joining us. It'd be good to understand a bit about what your part is to play in the Heyward Group. Now we've rebranded, which we're going to be coming on to. But yeah, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I joined I've known Michael and Yona for many years, and joined the business just a few months before lockdown, back end of the year before lockdown.
That was interesting.
Taken an early lead developing the consulting business, and share the passion for leadership development that Michael and Yona have.
Yes.
And performance through people. So it was a natural move for me.
Sure.
And great to be here in the real world.
I was going to say, in the real world, being able to see you face to face.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing. I remember actually meeting you on a property with Michael way back when, and we were talking about this exact thing, about bringing in the next generation of hotelier and how passionate you were about developing, professionals within the industry.
Absolutely.
And that has clearly resonated with you guys partnering on this, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah.
One thing I would say as well, we're going to be coming on to this, but since the rebranding, I know that you've had a lot to do with the face of the business, and now obviously a lot going on in terms of social media and activity, which has been really amped up more recently, which is a fantastic thing to see.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been a lot of activity within your network and so much support and love for that. So I just want to say a massive congratulations on that front, because it's been great to see.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I suppose without further ado, what we really want to hear about is this rebrand.
Yeah.
How exciting. So please do tell us a bit about what's been happening with the rebrand.
Yeah, of course.
And I suppose why the rebrand, right? What was the reason for that?
Well, I think like many consulting businesses, we probably found ourselves with a little bit more time on our hands last year
Twiddling your thumbs.
than we wanted, but we were in a good position, and we just felt that it was the right time to make the step change in our business. Right. We felt that the previous name, Hospitality Solutions, wasn't working for us. We absolutely wanted to keep Michael's and Yona's name in the business, because that's core to what we are. And actually the name came about very naturally. The Heyward Group was a working name through the project, and the more we used it, the more it made sense. Right. To talk about the business growing. We're a group of like-minded people, and it's expanding. So that's where the name came from, and the repositioning. And I think, like everybody in our line of work, just how do we articulate exactly what we're about?
Yes.
And really that people are at the core of everything we do, be it the leadership development side of the business or the consulting side of the business.
Right. And I suppose in terms of sort of where this came about, obviously I know that you came on board. Edwards and Finn, of course, have been a partner with the Heyward Group, or Heyward Hospitality as it was, and it's a fantastic thing to see the evolution of what's happened. And I suppose there's been a lot of consultancies that have had to broaden their sort of horizons, I suppose, in terms of what they're doing and their offerings. So I suppose, has anything changed in terms of those offerings for you guys? Yeah.
Actually, the rebranding is just the tip of the work. What we did was consolidate what we provide and the services that we can offer. And so what we found was that there were actually two pillars of services that we do. So the first one that I want to speak about is the learning development side, which I'm responsible for.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, and we have 4 areas here. So we have the corporate education. So we do bespoke training. It could be in business acumen, it could be revenue management, or it could be for universities, because we do work. Of course, we work from the ranges of universities right through to senior executives.
Yes.
Okay. And you also find this in the second area of our mentoring coaching.
Right.
And this is a form of training that is starting to come through the industry as being very important, because it is very, again, bespoke. It's very targeted to the needs of the individual.
Yes.
And we also have fabulous tools to really help us with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where I think that's what really sets you guys apart, actually, is from her first-hand experience working with the sort of process from start to finish. I felt like I was being understood completely, but I wasn't being put into a sort of standard track or standard process. It was very much bespoke to me as a professional and where I was at in my career, which I thought was probably one of the best elements to it. So the
tools that we use take out the heat. It's something that we share together and allow the individual to explore. But it acts as a framework for those discussions and provides really powerful insights. So it's absolutely brilliant that way.
Yeah.
The third area that we do is professional development.
Right.
So we have worked with organisations to setting up programs that allow those particular individuals who have the potential for leadership.
Yes.
And so as the candidates go through that program, it has really helped them lead into the leadership roles and allowed them to be successful, like hitting the ground running, because they have the tools and the provisions for them to make a success of that.
And again, ultimately, that's not just helping them as an individual, but the wider business, right? That's got to have a serious impact on the business in a massively positive way, where not only are they being, I suppose, getting an understanding of who they are as a professional, but also helping them on that journey to becoming a more senior individual within the business.
What we've discovered is that actually they've been retained longer in the business, and they actually become very powerful people to reach the goals of that organisation. It's been fabulous to watch the growth of these
I was going to say, I can imagine you've seen some amazing journeys from sort of start to finish and where they are now. I bet that's massively sort of satisfying, right?
That's right, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's why we exist. We love seeing people develop, not for us, but to allow them to shine.
Yes.
And that's what that's what gives us the buzz, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
So the last area, of course, happens to be our leadership experience.
Right, yeah.
So what we do is we take people away and we set up this environment where people have to make decisions under pressure.
Yes.
And this is how people experience in the real world, while they're doing leadership roles, this is what they have to be able to do. But when we set it up in our particular activities, it's followed by feedback, and the great learning comes from that.
Right.
And it's been interesting. One of the candidates described the feedback as being brutally honest, but very powerful.
Yeah, I like that.
So many years after candidates have been through this experience, they've actually pinpointed that this has been a really powerful influence upon their future successes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some serious feedback as well, to sort of say, to have that acknowledgement, I suppose.
Yes.
And again, it's interesting because I've always found that people are quite closed off when being quite honest about their own personal feedback and what it's done for them, because sometimes it can be quite a sensitive subject. But for you to be able to get that from somebody clearly shows that you're gaining trust as well. So yeah, that's
fantastic.
I suppose that's got to be a huge part of this, right, Barry? That trust element of being able to develop this person and teams of people, and for them to trust that you're going to get them to where they want to be.
Yeah, and ultimately we're all about doing something that's going to give really robust results for the business.
Yeah.
So in order for us to achieve that, we have to be robust in everything we do.
Yes.
And we're able to work with a client to identify in terms of the work we do in terms of learning and development,
Yeah.
we'll actually put our name out there and say, we'll put an ROI on this,
Yes.
and we'll calculate that for you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's been a bit of a game changer for us in
Sure.
terms of the approach.
Understandably so. You as a business putting your name down, as you say, to give that quantifiable evidence of being able to show what they've achieved at the end of this, that's got to be huge in itself, because sometimes that training and development piece, you can never really understand it until it has been completed, and maybe a few months, even a year later, you won't really see that.
Yep.
But if you're already tracking that, that's got to be a big selling point, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I suppose, of course, what does the future hold for the Heyward Group, right? Where's the next thing? Where are you guys heading?
So I guess more on the consulting side of the
Yeah.
business. You know, that's an area of the business that we've grown and
Sure.
maintained through, fortunately, through the last year. Whereas a lot of learning and development has been on the back burner.
Yeah.
So in terms of the consulting, it's quite a difficult. We hate the word consultants,
Sure.
first of all.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
we kind of come up. We call ourselves the anti-consultant consultants. So at one
I like
end, one end of the spectrum, you've got the big faceless
Sure.
consulting firms that will charge you a fortune for a very expensive PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
And at the other end, you've got the smaller independents who are probably trying to sell something a little bit abstract. So
Sure.
we want to really sit in the middle.
Yes.
We're small enough to care,
Yeah.
but we're big enough to deliver results. So
Sure.
that's really kind of where we're coming from on the consultancy side of things. And there's sort of four main areas on the consulting
Yeah.
side. The first is building teams.
Yes.
We're careful not to say team building because of what we were saying earlier. But
Yeah.
it's a robust process. you
Sure.
know. So a couple of areas in terms of building teams. We support in terms of recruitment. We leave the recruiting to the
I was gonna say,
experts.
easy, Barry. Easy.
But we,
I thought we were friends.
so what we'll do is help our client to identify the sort of profile of person
Sure.
that they're looking for, and
Yeah.
then work with excellent partners like yourselves to find that. Because,
It's part of that team building
Yeah.
that we were talking about.
Yeah.
and you know, we're seeing that a lot at the moment with our clients that are growing.
Of course. Yeah.
The other thing in terms of building teams is engagement, so
Yeah.
more of a consultative approach to team engagement, and also collaboration.
Yes.
And how do we get a collaborative spirit within a team?
Mm.
Then I guess my area of expertise is the operational consulting.
Of course,
And that
yeah.
can be anything from interim management up to strategic support. And we're seeing a lot of traction with working with our clients, helping support them come out of this,
Yes.
this situation at the moment. And then the final thing is digital. We're not tech geeks, but what we can do is to support organizations really streamline processes. But we only do that when there's a human element. So it's how do we help organizations empower their team to be doing what they do best,
Sure.
not dealing with labels and processes.
Yeah. And I know since you've started, you have been manically busy. You've been here, there, everywhere, which is so fantastic to see because, let's be honest, there's a lot of consultancy firms that really aren't that busy. So the fact that you guys are, it's testament to the relationships that you've already got, but your skill set to be able to develop those relationships quickly because the last 12 months hasn't been easy on anybody. So what a fantastic
You
achievement.
know, we've been talking about the hospitality industry
Yeah.
and the tourism industry being hit, but the consultancy industry
the
has
industry's
been
around.
really they're the groups of people that support
Yes.
both the travel and hospitality industry
Yeah.
and further afield.
Yes.
So the impact has been great.
Yeah.
So we've been really thankful, and what we've been doing is also growing our own team
Yes. Yeah, of
because
course.
that's also important. What we found really interesting is we've been doing it 3 different ways.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the first way is actually we've been identifying real talent
Yeah.
that actually our normal employment structure haven't been able to provide opportunities for these groups of people,
Sure.
even though they've got great talent. Okay, so what we found with flexibility and collaboration, we've been able to bring them along in our team.
I like it.
So this is a real opportunity. And we also really believe in helping and developing leaders, particularly at the beginning of their careers.
Sure.
Shared passion.
That's
exactly
right.
that. No, exactly that. Yeah.
So we believe that we practice what we preach.
Yes.
And so we're providing internships within the company as well.
That's so fantastic to hear. That's so fantastic to hear.
And then, of course, we've got this huge network,
Yep.
like you've indicated, working with you.
Yeah.
But there's a huge group of people who have either started their own consultancy or have been consulting for quite some time that have space for work, that we're being able to link into that that group of people, highly skilled people, highly experienced.
Yes.
And what that means is that it allows us to take on new businesses, meet businesses and match people up together so that the needs out there are being met.
I suppose ultimately that means that as you bring on these incredibly experienced people like Barry and other members of the team, you're then able to take on even more complex projects, even bigger clients and so on and so forth, which I know, again, from talking to you guys, has been a huge sort of influx in terms of new contracts, new clients, new business, which is fantastic. Because again, I think from my consultancy perspective, we're certainly already seeing a boom in business coming in, which is great for all of us. But again, you guys have been so busy throughout, and now it's just, the future looks very bright, let's put it like that, which is a fantastic position to be in.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and we probably can't reveal everything, but we're going to be announcing a partnership with a new client, first major contract outside of hospitality.
Yes.
Wow.
Closely linked to hospitality.
Sure.
So we're diversifying in that way. The education business still remains very, very strong.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing that people have really taken on board, personal development during the last 12 months. So how do companies keep building on that? And then the consulting side of things is going very well as well. And, but we do want to get back out there and start seeing people and doing the face-to-face work.
Yeah, and this is what we all love, right? This is what we all love. And this is why I was so excited about this interview today, because it was a chance for us all to get back together. So for anybody that doesn't know, Yona and Michael and I have been friends for a number of years. Barry has been somebody I've known for some time as well. And to get together again, it's just been so much fun, right?
Really lovely, yes.
And in such a wonderful environment. And trust me, guys, there's going to be a lot more content where we are going to be meeting with some good friends, some fantastic clients, and some awesome contacts. But I guess from us, thank you so much for taking the time out of your incredibly busy diaries. I know how busy you both are, but thank you so much, because it's been absolutely brilliant. And it's so good to hear how well the business is going, and of course about the rebrand.
Thank you for allowing us to share with you. And also everybody out there, we wish all those hotels that are reopening all the best for their future.
Definitely. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to actually go over to our Instagram page, where we are incredibly active in terms of who we've got coming on the show, what the business has got going on at the moment. And of course, I'm incredibly active on LinkedIn. So shoot over to LinkedIn, make sure you follow me on there, drop me a message. I'm always up for a conversation. But for now, thanks very much for tuning in. Don't forget to see who's on next week's episode now.